I'm going into the development side. Does anybody else want to chime in on that? Because to me, that's a no, that's what where he would get the win right there.
Well, I would, Rick, like Rick, I was a trustee, and I dealt with, development issues back in the day, and it's not easy. There's a lot. It's so easy for people to say, "Oh, we need more shops or we need more restaurants," and stuff like that. But there's an economic decisions behind that. People aren't just going to build something and lose money. So you have to be able to work with business people. And I think, I think Randy is better suited to work with the business community than Prue for a variety of reasons. One, he has business experience being a managing partner of a multi-million-dollar business. And two, I think Prue, if I'm a business person, I have questions about her, given some of the stances she's taken on things. And
wait, hold on. Do you call threatening a business a stance?
Well, that too. That's certainly one.
But that's a huge too.
I mean, she's given money to a lot of candidates who are very anti-business.
I want to know all those people that
$1 billion people are very anti.
All those people supporting her and screaming for her. What's your stance on what she's done to these businesses that she's gone into? No. These are our neighbors. This is who we do business with, and they're going in and saying, we're going to boycott you.
I mean, Joe's got a very good point there. When you're running, all of these boards, the cities, development is a key issue. You're trying to balance in many ways because, after all, these are private property, and the owner of the private property is entitled within the zoning rules and other regulations to do whatever it is they want to do. And it's not the city's job to tell them, "Oh, landowner, you should have a restaurant, or you should have retail, or you should have services, or you should have residential." It is very a difficult thing that the city has to do to both try to envision where you want to go and get private property owners then to take you there. I did see, by the way, Libertyville many years ago, 20 years ago, did a great job on hiring. They hired a consultant called Main Street. And I was very active at the Chamber of Commerce in Lake Forest at the time, and we watched them Libertyville do this. And it was very questionable, but the city of Village of Libertyville hired this consultant, and they've had great success since then as a result.
Libertyville, wow, that was a big risk with Main Street.
Yes.
Thing, and how did it pay off?
Yeah, and Libertyville was proactive. Used the word,
and they were kind of dying, right, Rick?
Yes.
I mean, they were,
the car dealerships were having problems, and they were getting their lunch eaten by Vernon Hills, and yes, by hiring Main Street as a consultant, they went out and found additional businesses they wanted and promoted their restaurants and promoted their retail, and it's been a great success.
Yeah, and it's not easy. And I think Randy talked about this in the candidate forum of there needs to be a market for a business to be there. Businesses aren't going to go there out of the goodness of their heart.
Right.
There has to be, and I think some of the Prue supporters out there are trying to make it out like this pro-development group is going to make big skyscrapers in downtown Lake Forest and stuff like that. And Randy has made that very clear that that's not what they're looking to do. Right. You ride the train. If you ever ride the train from downtown up to Lake Forest, and you see, once you get Evanston and all these different suburbs that are along the line, and you see like these, Evanston looks like it's like part of the city of Chicago now with all the stuff that's gone up there. And that's not what we're looking to do here in Lake Forest. But at the same time, you have to, clearly what we have right now isn't working because you have so few businesses. So there has to be it's a very delicate balance. And again, I think someone like Randy can thread the needle on that, leading with and working with business people.
Yeah, it
Well,
has to be
again,
part of
the
it.
the
I
key
mean, I
is,
grew up in Highland Park, and Highland Park is today much more of an urban downtown than
right.
it was when I was growing up there. We used to call it uptown. It was,
But the key is with Randy, with the
Okay.
next mayor, not necessarily working well with businesses. Yeah, absolutely. More importantly, it's working well with city staff.
yeah,
And I think that's where Randy really has the leg up, is because he's been doing this as an alderman, as well as heading up the central business district. You have to work with head city staff, and
yes.
my understanding is they enjoy working with them and they respect them, and that's tantamount to the
Oh,
mayor.
I would think so. I mean, I think, you know, I mean, you meet Randy, you know, pretty quickly, this guy's a straight arrow. He's not going to tell you what he thinks. He's going to be clear, and he has the experience to be able to make decisions.